Later today, we expect to hear from the family that owns the company where gunmen went on a shooting rampage this week.
They're talking about what happened, and police are working to piece together all the details of what happened inside the building in Manchester Tuesday morning. For the latest on the investigation, News 8's Kent Pierce is live in Manchester. Good morning, Kent.
Good morning, Chris. And police say this all started when Hartford distributors got suspicious that a driver, Omar Thornton, was stealing beer from his delivery truck. Tuesday morning, they actually hired a private investigator to follow him and get some proof. Tuesday morning at 7 a.m., they had him come to the distributor's building here early for a meeting with management. And at that meeting, they played the proof, a video of Thornton stealing beer. Thornton calmly signed a letter of resignation, and as he was being escorted out, he said he wanted a drink of water, and he went to the kitchen. He grabbed his lunch bag in the kitchen. Inside that bag, he had 2 handguns. He started shooting right away, starting with the HDI vice president and union president who were with him in the meeting. Police say he made his way throughout the building, targeting people in authority and passing over other co-workers.
He then chased one or more victims through the building and out into the parking lot before re-entering the building itself, walking back in. He was unable to get in because it was a locked door, so he was able to shoot through the glass and open the door to get back into the building. And then he continued to walk through the building where we found other victims.
Thornton finally stopped, called his mother to say goodbye, then shot himself as police stormed the building. Thornton shot 11 people, all told, including himself. 2 survived. 1 is still in the hospital. The other, Steve Hollander, is a vice president here at Hartford Distributors. He has called a press conference for 3 o'clock today, so it looks like today we will be hearing from one of the victims in his own words. We're live in Manchester this morning. I'm Kent Pierce, News 8.
Ken, thank you. Police are also scanning the 911 calls that came from inside Hartford Distributors.
Yeah, they're frantic, and they paint a clear picture of the fear and chaos inside the building. News 8's Annie Rourke joined us now with some of those calls, and they are really hard to listen to, Annie.
They are definitely, Chris and Kristen. Now, in this day and age, everyone has a cell phone. Got a flood of 911 calls right as the shooting began. News 8 has a copy of those frantic phone calls. We do want to warn you, you may find them disturbing to listen to. Now, the first call came from the man who fired Omar Thornton, Hartford Distributor Vice President Steve Hollander. He spoke to police as he hid in his office while suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. We're told police were on the scene in 5 minutes, but it is such a large complex and it was so chaotic, it was hard to determine exactly where the gunman was. And the frantic 911 calls kept pouring in from around the complex, workers hiding in corners of the office.
How many people got shot?
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. And you're shot where?
In my head.
You're shot in the head?
Yeah.
And what's your name?
My name is Steve Hollander. Oh, he's still shooting. I hear guns out there.
All right. Did he used to work there?
Yeah, until I just fired him.
Today?
Today, just now, before he started shooting. He's chasing people out in the parking lot.
Headed towards the warehouse inside the building, ma'am?
Yes.
Are you hiding?
Yes, I
And you stay down where you are. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, my God. Again, police arrived quickly within 5 minutes of that first 911 call. A 5-man team stormed the complex. We're told it was not a SWAT team, just regular officers, the first 5 guys on the scene. But we're told everyone is trained these days to handle mass casualty situations. Now, those 911 calls and the police presence that followed did make a difference. When they got on the scene, it forced Thornton to go into hiding himself, barricading himself in a corner office, then turning the gun on himself as police tried to get to him. Back to you.
Thank you, Annie. Now that all the families have been notified, we do have a list of victims for you. Those killed are 57-year-old Francis Fazio of Bristol, 56-year-old Douglas Scruton of Manchester, 49-year-old Edwin Kennison of East Hartford, 51-year-old William Ackerman of Broadbrook, 51-year-old Brian Sirigliano of Newington, 60-year-old Craig Pepin of South Windsor, 50-year-old Louis Felder Jr. of Stamford, and 61-year-old Victor James of Windsor. The 2 who were hurt but survived, 50-year-old company vice president, as you heard, Stephen Hollander of South Windsor. He was on those 911 tapes. 77-year-old Jerome Rosenstein of West Hartford was also hurt.
This has touched so many people. More than 1,000 co-workers, friends, and loved ones turned out for a church service to remember those victims. There was a memorial service last night at St. Margaret Mary Church in South Windsor. That's the church where Craig Pepin attended. He was one of the 8 people shot and killed by 34-year-old Omar Thornton. Pepin's being called a hero. We're told he was warning other workers about the shooter, trying to get them out of the building before he was shot.
Craig Pepin saw him coming and told the guys to run, and he kind of protected them, and then the guy went right up and shot him in the head. The man was a great man.
Everybody is in mourning, and I don't think we're going to recover from this for a long, long time.
Pepin leaves behind a wife and 4 now adult children.
Family and friends of other victims are also sharing things about their loved ones with News 8. We talked to victim Brian Sorigliano's brother. He says Brian was the kind of guy who took care of everybody. He was the union president as well. Peg Serapilla says she'll remember her cousin, Fran Fazio, as the Bud Man. She says he loved the company, loved his job, and right now she can't help being mad.
Absolutely there's anger, because this was so unnecessary. I mean, if there's something that is bothering someone, there's enough people out there to reach out to talk to. Now, my cousin was an absolutely wonderful man. He was very humble. He was a loving father and husband,
Funeral plans for 7 of the 8 killed by Omar Thornton have not been finalized, but funeral services were held yesterday for 50-year-old Louis Felder. He was a member of Stamford's Orthodox Jewish community. Felder was working as operations manager at Hartford Distributors when he was shot and killed. He's described as a family man, very active in the Orthodox Jewish community. Family members tell News 8 they're trying to remember how Louis Felder lived, not how he died.
He could walk into a room and make everybody laugh. And he didn't have to know you. He could have just met you, and you would have been laughing with him. That's the type of person he was. You would have walked away saying, wow, he's really a great guy, he really cares. And that's the type of person he was.
Felder leaves behind a wife and 3 teenage children. And the Teamsters Union has set up a memorial fund for the victims. If you'd like to help, you can send donations to this address. We're putting it up on your screen. Take a look. Teamsters President Jim Hoffa says they'll donate $50,000 to the fund, and that money is going to go to victims' families. If you can't write all that down right now, we also have it on our website, WTNH.com. And, of course, be sure to stay with News 8 and WTNH.com for continuing coverage of the workplace shooting in Manchester.